to the Grassroots Tennis Podcast, a platform created to entertain, educate, and grow the game of tennis at all levels. My friends call me Ship, but this show isn't about me. We'll be bringing you interviews with coaches, community leaders, and players, along with updates about tennis happening around the world. Tennis is a culture, and we are all writing tennis history together. Today, I am here with Zeke Clark. Now, Zeke, he has quite the resume, from juniors to playing at University of Illinois, and now he's trying to make his way on the Pro Tour as a junior. He's ranked as high as number 2 in the U.S., with a number 47 in IATF junior rankings. He was even able to play in a couple of Grand Slam main draw junior events, the Australian Open and US Open juniors. In Kalamazoo 18 and under nationals, he took third place. In college, he had a career high singles ranking of 28 and a career high doubles ranking of 14. He had 104 career singles wins. Correct me if I'm wrong on any of this, Zeke. Along with, he was the 2021 Big Ten Tournament MVP, as well as the 2021. They were the team champions at University of Illinois. He was first team All Big Ten in 2019 and 2021. Now on to his pro career. He has a career high singles ranking. I don't know the exact number, probably around 450, and a career high doubles ranking pretty close to around 200 right now. He's at this point, how many titles do we have, Zeke? We have
I have 2. You're testing me here, man. I like it. Already seeing if I'm locked in. I have 2 singles and 6 doubles, I believe.
And 6 doubles. I was gonna say I couldn't remember. I couldn't remember. I knew it was 2 singles titles. I wasn't quite sure how many doubles. I was never
testing the memory, man. Testing the memory. I think that's right. I don't want to give you the 100% certain on that, but I think that's where we're sitting at right now.
Which is pretty exciting. I feel like you've had, a really good run here the past month, the start of 2023. We're only just now into May, and putting together what you've been able to do here the past month, I feel like has been really positive.
Yeah, for sure. And I felt like I did a very good preseason in December. I felt like I put in some good work, and honestly, till the beginning of April, my results really hadn't been there. But I continued to trust the fact that I'd put the work in, was trying to not beat myself up too much, and the last couple of weeks finally started to see some results. Made a couple good runs, so just trying to use that as motivation and taking all the confidence away from it that I can to take that into the next little summer swing. So I'm excited to get back out there for sure.
I think that's a huge thing that junior players could take away too. Hearing you say that, I feel like when you put the work in, you just have to trust that you're doing the right thing. Hearing that, I think, is a good thing. And then another thing that I think juniors could take from you is you had a couple of weeks where maybe you weren't happy with your singles results, but then you started to really be happy with your doubles results, and then it started to come full circle in the singles. And I think that's an underrated thing. When juniors are struggling, they need to jump in and play some more doubles, get those reps, and then when you're winning, it's contagious, I feel like.
Oh, for sure. And you see it so much in junior tennis. You get so caught up in all the results and the points and this and that. And at the end of the day, and you're able, like, whenever it's all said and done, obviously, like, you're able to look at junior tennis as a whole totally differently. But whenever you're in it, you get very caught up. You get very caught up in it all. And I mean, that was something I did. I see it all the time. It's normal. It's normal. But at the end of the day, it's all about this process, right? Like, what are you trying to get out of your tennis? If it's, I'm trying to reach the Division I level, great. If it's, I'm trying to play college tennis anywhere, great. I think trying to identify what you're trying to do with your tennis is very important. And then you set up different goals and steps to make that happen. And yeah, I mean, that's something I definitely had to lean into this year with the results I was having. Wasn't having the results that I wanted, but continued to trust the fact that I was doing the day-to-day tasks that I needed to do in order to put myself in the best spots. And it was obviously very satisfying to see some results start to trickle in. And like you said, I've actually had a lot of good doubles results this year, and I would consider myself I'm more focused on my singles. But having played a lot of doubles matches, you're right. I'm getting extra serve, return, volley reps that I wouldn't be getting. And I think in juniors, you see that a lot. People either pull out of the consolation because they're like, I'm done. If I didn't win the tournament, then whatever. And people don't play doubles. And I think that's the silliest thing ever, because at the end of the day, junior results, although they are important, because, okay, let's say you're shooting to play college tennis, like that's what coaches are looking at. Yes. But at the end of the day, it's all about improving your game, right? Like, how can I become a better player? And obviously playing more matches, being under fire, under pressure is the best thing you can possibly do, because you can practice all you want. But if you're not in those pressure filled situations, singles or doubles, doesn't matter. Your game's not going to improve. So that's definitely something that I would encourage to anybody who's listening to this that is really looking to take their game to the next level. You could be playing USTA 3.0 league. Play more matches. Play more matches. You're going to get better if you do that, and don't knock yourself if things aren't going well. Trust it, stay in it, keep putting yourself out there, keep training, and you have to believe that you'll get better, and results will come as a piece of that.
I think a statistic that people don't really talk about is when they look at the top level. The best players in the world, their rankings are trending upward when they're winning 2/3 of their matches. And that's a 66%. Right. That is literally on an old 190, 80, 70, 60. That's a D if you're taking a class on something. And then people that are maintaining ranking, they might be winning 50% of their matches if they're just trying to maintain. That's an F. This game is so mentally tough.
You're failing.
You're failing. Aslan Karatsev, he's lost in the first round in the past year 18 times. Yeah. 18 times he's lost in the first round, and now he's in the semifinals of Madrid. Yeah. It's like, you just got to keep working. You don't ever know what's going to happen.
Exactly. And a guy like that, like, who has shown that he has the tools to beat anybody in the world. All right, sure, he's going through a tough stretch. I'm sure people are knocking him. There's a lot of outside voices, I'm sure, telling him things that he doesn't necessarily need to be hearing. But he stays the course, and now he's having an unbelievable week. He has a chance to win a Masters 1000 event. Like, even with the week that he's had this week, he's racked up enough points to, like, he's on his way back to whatever his career high. I'm sure, I think he was like top 20 in the world. Like,
he made it to 15 or 16, I think.
Yeah, 15 or 16 in the world. And this guy's played at the top of the game, beating the best guys in the world. And it shows. Okay, he takes a dip, but it is what it is. It's a tough sport, man. You can drop a lot faster than you can exploit. Like, you lose a little bit of confidence. You're not quite as sharp as you need to be. You lose a couple matches in a row. It's tough, man. And even for a guy like that has achieved so much, like, even he dropped, and he's obviously on the come up again. But it goes to show that it can happen to anybody. People are human. You go through these ups and downs, but it's all about how you respond when things aren't going well, because you lose almost every single week. Winning a title on the pro tour doesn't come often. So you lose every week. You have to become a very good loser. And if you can learn from those experiences, put it into practice, and then put yourself out there again, you're going to get better, man. You're going to get better and achieve the things that you want to with your tennis.
Okay, so I'm going to rapid fire a couple of things for you really quick,
yeah,
Zeke.
Let's hear it.
Okay, so what age you started playing tennis?
3.
Okay, I started playing. What racket are you currently using?
Head Prestige.
What do you string at?
54.
And what type of string?
Solinco Tour Bite.
And what is your racket weighted down at all?
There is some weight in the head, yes.
Okay. And then what racket did you use as a junior?
I used Prince for almost my whole junior career. I used the Prince Tour. It had like the holes, and there were no grommets on the racket. It had the holes on the side. I used that racket forever. I used that racket for 6 years, maybe. And then once they got rid of the rackets with the holes, I used like there's a year period where I used like 4 or 5 different. I was trying to like get used to the new their new selection of rackets, and I didn't really like those rackets that much. So I literally tried every single one that they had come out with that year, and then I actually switched to Babolat for my last couple months of juniors and carried that into college, where I then switched back to my Princes for a little bit, found some on eBay, and then have been using Head for the last
Yeah.
5-6 years. Yeah.
Okay. Who was the first person to really kick your butt? The
Oh my
first
gosh. So
one.
there's one kid that comes to mind. I mean, he might not have been the first one, but there's this kid named Cole Inhofe who I played a ton in the 10s and 12 and unders, like really good buddy of mine. And he kicked my butt so many times. Like I wasn't not winning games, not winning points against this guy. This guy was unbelievable. So steady, like moonball, like balls just bouncing over my head. I just had no clue what to do. And yeah, I mean, I think the first 5 or 6 times I played him, I don't know if I got a game. So that's somebody that comes to mind that he had my number for a long, long time, just kicking my butt every time, every single time.
That happens to everybody. It
Yeah, it
does.
does, man. It does. It does.
All right. What do you think a good practice session looks like?
I think a good practice session is one where you're obviously locked into a couple different specific things that you want to focus on. You're not just hitting balls. It's very easy to go out there and just want to hit balls up the middle. And okay, it's good for a little bit of rhythm, but at the end of the day, you're not really, I don't feel like you're sharpening your skills that much, just hitting balls up the middle or hitting cross court. I think having an idea of like, all right, this is what I'm trying to get out of practice today, whether it be, okay, I really want to work on stinging my forehand, cross court, up and out, up and off the court. I want to work on my serve +1. I want to be working on a specific return. Things like that, I think are very important to have on your mind. So you're continuing to sharpen those skills, be there under different pressure situations. So as long as you have a couple things, you're hitting those points. I feel like then it's all about keeping your quality high, hit those specific points you want to get to. And if you do that, I feel like you get a lot out of your practice as opposed to just going out and tickling some balls around.
Okay. What should top level junior players be focused on?
And I think it's very broad. This is very broad, but again, I keep bringing up this idea of the process, right? Like where are you trying to go with your tennis? Like what is your goal at that time? Nailing that down is super important because then you can come up with either tangible, like, okay, this is what I need to be doing to get there. This is what I know I need to be doing. You can set goals, long term, short term, whatever. But like, okay, this is where I'm trying to go. I think that's very important as opposed to like, oh, this month I need to rack up 600 USTA 16 and under national points. Like that's where it gets so silly, right? Like, why are we concerned about 16 and under national points?
Mm-hmm.
Nobody cares. No, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter that much, and it's so easy to get caught up in that. But you should be focused on the day to day. Am I focused? Am I locked in? Am I working on the right things? Am I trying to play the right way? Am I getting myself as prepared as possible for the next time I'm going to go out and play in a pressure situation in a match? And if your focus is there, then you're going to get better and your results will improve. You'll feel better in competition, but getting away from worrying so much about the results, more about the day-to-day stuff. That's what I would say.
Okay. What do you think is a piece of advice that every junior tennis player needs?
You lose a lot. You lose a lot, man. You lose a ton. And that's something I still struggle with because I hate losing. I'm super competitive and I take it very personally when I lose. Like when I win, it's great. Okay, it's nice. Yes, but I think I hate losing more than I like to win. And I think that's something that a lot of other people feel as well. And it can really hold you back at times because of how personally you can take it, and you beat yourself up and more than they should. Um, so I wish I had been telling myself this way earlier, like, dude, you're gonna lose so many tennis matches. Like you're gonna lose so many. You're gonna lose almost every week. You gotta loosen up a little bit. It's like it's okay, man. Yeah, you're gonna lose. You're gonna play some terrible matches, and kind of going in with that mindset, like, okay, it might not be super pretty out there. I could lose this match, yes. And I think that takes a lot of pressure off of you. Like if you're kind of come to terms with the fact you could lose, like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, yeah, it could happen, as opposed to like, if I don't win this match, like the sun might not come up tomorrow. No, come on, man. It's just a tennis match. You know, that's definitely a piece been telling myself, my younger self, and that I would give to other junior players is like, it's okay. It's gonna happen as long as you're learning from it. You'll be all right.
Right. Okay. So I think it's valuable for people to hear, and I think for any junior players or for any parents of junior players out there,
Mm-hmm.
obviously, with your ranking, your process might have been different than some other people, but what was your college recruiting process like?
Yeah, so coaches can start officially reaching out to you at the beginning of
For
your junior year of high school.
for D1,
Um,
right?
yeah,
Yeah.
and so that's formally when started hearing from coaches, like seeing them at tournaments, and like a lot of these coaches, like Brad, my coach at Illinois, for instance, I had been seeing Brad. This cat was around since I was 12 years old, and he would still like make small talk with me. Okay, like we couldn't like sit down and go to lunch and talk, but like he would still like he introduced himself, and you're a 12-year-old, and like a college coach comes and says hi to you, you're starstruck. You're like, this is the coolest thing ever. So like I'd met some of the coaches just around before the recruiting process even started. But yeah, that's when it formally started, and coaches could email me, call me, set up unofficial visits, and so that's what I did. And I'm naturally a bit of a perseverator, so I knew I kind of wanted to get my unofficial visits in, and I wasn't trying to drag out the college process because I didn't want it to weigh on me. Um, so I lined up. I talked to, I mean, I had schools reaching out to me. I lined up my unofficial visits, took tons of visits, and it was pretty clear to me where I needed to be, and that was at Illinois. And it was nothing against all the other schools that I visited. I had lots of great visits, visited a lot of great programs, great coaches, great kids at the schools, etc. But I just I knew Illinois was the place for me, and I was ready to make that decision. So actually, my recruiting process didn't really last all that long compared to, I mean, some other kids. It goes like 2 years. They're like they're a
Mm-hmm.
couple months out from going to, and they still haven't decided. So mine wasn't as drawn out, but I know myself, and I didn't want to just be sweating results, sweating this, sweating that. Like, all right, let's
Mm-hmm.
lock it in, take your visits, and let's lock something in. So that's what mine was like.
And I think people could take a lot from that. I think a couple things that are noticeable is like if you are putting yourself into the right events, if you are working your way, into the right events, you're gonna be networking, you're gonna be in the presence of people, you're gonna meet people. And so I think that's one thing people can kind of take from that. The second thing I would say is, a lot of times your results speak for themselves. If you're having results, people are always worried
Right.
about, like right now, nowadays, people they're match dodging, worried about their ratings and things like that. It's
Yeah,
like
oh, dude, it's brutal, man. It's
coaches do not
brutal.
care about your UTR. They
Oh,
care about your wins, and they want to see you
yeah,
winning and competing. And
exactly, dude.
and
Exactly. And
that's how you
oh, it's
build a
so easy. Yeah,
reputation for yourself.
you're right. You're totally right. Yeah, and the whole UTR, I know some coaches look at it from and like now that I've been I was in college tennis for 4.5 years, like saw how Brad and Marcos, how they operated, hearing from other guys how their coaches operate too, the good understanding of how it works, right? At the top D1 level. And I think UTR is important because like it gives a coach a baseline. That's like where
Right.
your level is. But man, throw that in the trash, man. Throw the UTR in
Mm-hmm.
the trash, dude. All it does is it's just another thing that kids are worried about.
Right.
And it's the last thing that they should be worried about. The junior rankings, the UTR, like it's silly. It's silly.
It
And
it
it's great from a okay, you can kind of get an idea of somebody's level, but it has not. There could be a kid that's a 4 UTR that just doesn't play any tournaments, but he's could be in a 10 or 11. Like that doesn't do the kid any justice.
and I
Um,
think people need to
but
realize
again,
too that if they had been in a junior tournament and maybe you end up getting the opportunity to play someone like Zeke, and it's it's your junior year, it's your sophomore year, it's whatever, and you get that opportunity to play, and all of a sudden, hey, you might not have beaten Zeke, but I played Zeke and I went 4-4 with him, right? And you might have lost, but
right?
if you're a person who maybe is a late bloomer or whatever, you can
Yeah,
email those coaches, and all of a sudden they look at your
yeah,
results and they say, "Hey, we're looking at Zeke, and he went 4-4 with Zeke. Maybe we give this guy a look."
yeah. Of
That's
course, of course, and
it's all
you
about
know,
trying to be competitive. I feel like.
yeah. And I think coaches look at that more than like, how is this kid? Okay, this is his baseline. Okay, this is his whatever
Right.
ranking, UTR. All right, this is how good on paper the kid is. And then they want to see how you compete. How do you
Mm-hmm.
compete? How do you compose yourself on the court? In big moments, are you oh my gosh, everybody's against me. This guy's so lucky. Like no good coach wants somebody like that. It's all about okay, or is this kid intent? Is he fighting it for every point? Is he giving off good positive energy? Like those are cats that that good teams want to have, and that's something that you can control, right? Like you're not out there complaining. You're locked in what you're doing. You're competing hard, and I think that's something that we all have control over. That I think all college coaches pay a lot of attention to, and I would say even more attention than the UTR or the whatever, the sectional ranking, ITF ranking. Like, sure, it gives them an idea, but then they want to see you compete.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're a good competitor, coaches will want you.
Yeah. So obviously you were someone that played nationals. You worked your way through the USTA system growing up. Is there anything
Mm.
that you would change about the way junior tennis is currently structured in the United States?
Yeah, because now I think USTA has just gotten really weak. Really, all the top kids are just playing ITF.
Yeah.
So your top US. Okay, let's take clay courts for example. My last year 18s, I started like it started to feel like it was getting pretty weak. Like people just weren't playing clay courts. Like, what do you mean? Like growing up for me, like everybody was playing clay courts. Everybody,
Mm-hmm.
like all the top guys, and then it started to become a lot less meaningful. So your top kids are saying, I'm done with USDA. I'm playing ITF starting at age 15, 16, whenever
Right.
you can start
Right.
playing a full schedule. And then, I mean, junior 10, it's already expensive enough, right? It's already
Right.
expensive enough
Right.
to
And it's
travel.
trending upward. Right.
And obviously you're not making any money. You're you're totally reliant on your parents. So you're giving a kid who might not have the money, then he's not getting the competition because with money or traveling all over the world playing ITFs. Whereas this kid can't do it because he can't afford it, and then he's stuck playing maybe sectional USTA events. Not, and maybe he has the talent to be that good and play against that level. And he's in, it's brutal, dude. So there has to be more incentive to play in the states. Play in the
I
states. Like the
my
top kids should be playing the top tournaments. Why is a level
my
one with there's not even no blue chip recruits playing in a level one? Like, are you kidding me? Like kids that are 4 or 5, like it should be the best. Like the best kids should be playing those tournaments, and kids that maybe are 3, 4 star recruit should have the opportunity to play a kid like that, so they know where
that's
they're
what
at,
I that's what I was
right?
gonna say.
as
It
opposed to
trickles down.
maybe a 4-star recruit wins a level 2 or level 1, and then they think that they're like at the top.
Right.
Whereas against any blue chip recruit or a high recruit, they just don't see that level, so they don't really know where they stand.
Those 3 and 4 stars need the opportunity to play 5 stars of blue chips. So that is unfortunate.
100%. And I feel like the only chance to do that is maybe clay courts, Easter Bowl, and Kalamazoo. It's your only chance. And even clay courts and Easter Bowl, I feel like, are now the top guys still aren't. They're not playing. Everybody will play Kalamazoo, obviously, with the U.S. Open wild cards associated with it. You'll always get the top kids to play that.
Yeah,
but there needs to be incentive to play the other, as opposed to just a goal, like a goal ball. Or when you're 16, 18, like, you're not concerned about the goal ball, and when you're 12, like, it's the coolest thing ever. You just want a ball,
right.
and then then it's all about the you're like concerned about your ranking or whatever. You're not concerned about that. So there needs to be more incentive in those tournaments to get the top kids playing, to then trickle down and give the opportunity for those other kids to see that level, play that level, so they really know where they're at. It could be very beneficial for them. They're like, man, you go and you get your butt kicked by, let's say, maybe a guy 5'10" in your class. Then you're like, geez, I got a lot I need to work on. And you go back, you work on it, and you become a better player because of it, right? As opposed to just kind of getting through and you think you're great, and then you get to kind of, oh my gosh, this level feels so different.
Right. And not everyone coming into college is going to be someone who immediately breaks into a roster, but it would be nice, as a junior, to be able to actually measure yourself with those people who you see signing early. Like, it'd be nice to get that opportunity. Actually, you might like this, but one of my tennis hot takes is that if we want to see the USTA obviously benefits if we get more people playing tennis. And I think that as the NCAA with the NIL and the way things are changing, and as they start to change on how much prize money you can take in and things like that, once they finally open that up, my tennis hot take is that I think if we want to see a second tennis boom, they have to start having prize money in junior tournaments. That happens, there'll be a lot of kids taking up tennis.
It is a hot take, but we need to make tennis more attractive for kids to like. And it's tricky because, okay, let's say you're a 15-year-old who's never played tennis before.
Yeah,
it's very tricky to just pick it up and get good in a short period of time. Like, it's a tough sport, man. And if you don't start early, it's hard, man. It's hard, but it does need to be a little bit more attractive, right? For somebody that's 7, 8 years old, like, looking to choose a sport. Like, how is tennis gonna?
I think compete? A good example.
How is it gonna compete with the basketball or football or?
A good example is how Taylor Fritz really didn't start taking tennis seriously until later, compared to maybe some of his counterparts at that level. And I think if you think about, an 11 or 12-year-old who maybe is that 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th guy on the basketball team, you're not starting, you're sitting the bench a lot of the time, whatever. And all of a sudden you get the opportunity to play a local tennis tournament, and you get to the final,
then you ball out,
and all of a sudden you're walking away with, I don't know how much money that has to be, but you're like,
you ball out.
You're walking away.
Go buy yourself some new J's, dude.
You're like, I just made, I don't know what it needs to be, but you made the final, and now you're walking away with $100, and you think you're the coolest dude in the world.
Yeah, exactly. And you're like, man, this tennis thing is pretty cool.
I need to do this every weekend and pay.
Yeah,
like that.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And
now everybody.
And I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know the logistics yet.
Okay, the idea of it's good, but like finding it's already, like, you see it enough in the pros, like, it's already tough enough to like fund, like finding people that want to fund a pro tournament, nonetheless, like, put money in a junior tournament. I'm not sure, but I know that is something that would make it more attractive. I agree.
The USTA just changed it where you don't have to pay for a junior membership in order to get a USTA membership. And they thought by giving away their product for free, more people would take advantage of it. I think it's the opposite. I think you come back to charging everyone that $20 a year for that USTA membership, but then you funnel that money back into an incentive to people for hosting those events and use it to front the money to start having prize money events once we can kind of negotiate with the NCAA on how much money that people could be making a year and still maintain their eligibility. I think
There you
we
go.
give
There you
something
go.
away
But
for
then, but
free,
yeah,
people start
but right.
to.
Yeah, but you're right. Like, okay, funnel, like you said, the key out of all of that, funneling it back in to what is important, like
Mhm.
that $20 whatever fee, who knows? It's probably not going to where it needs to be,
Mhm.
So yeah, I agree with you. And okay, the free membership, like, okay, maybe if people are paying, then they're like, geez, we got to make sure we're like making it worthwhile. Um,
Yeah.
so I'm with you there, but making sure like, okay, that $20 from all the junior, like, okay, where's that money being allocated to? Is it being allocated for the right reason to make the sport more attractive?
Right. Um,
Because you're totally right. You're totally right.
what about the college level or the pro tour? Anything you would like to see change?
Uh, I think college tennis is great. I think college tennis is unbelievable. I really do. I really do. I love the fact that a lot of coaches allow the players to play both professional and collegiate events. I think that's awesome because a lot of kids want to play pro after, so you're able to play your college events, but also play your pro events, so you're continuing to dip your toes into the professional ranks. Like, all right, this is the level I need to be at. I think that's awesome. And you see a lot of professional events now on college campuses. So I think that's even better, right? Like to have events in your own backyard. I think that's awesome. I think college tennis is. I mean, I'm so biased, but I'm also not biased because it works, man. College tennis works. You see top 100 pros being cranked out from all programs all over. It's not like there's only one program cranking out guys. I mean,
Yeah.
you name it, mate. Power five, non-power five, like you name it, you can crank out. Like you can be a top 100 pro playing anywhere if you use the resources that are available to you to your advantage,
And not even guys
right?
that are always
Like
playing one on
it
their team, like Cressy.
no, are you kidding me? Yeah, dude, Cressy's I'm not even cracking the lineup at UCLA, but he's a guy, and I've obviously wasn't on the team with him, but I've heard plenty of stories, and I've seen Max a ton, and the guy is just as hard of a worker as you're going to find, believes in himself more than anybody else, and completely exploded, completely
Yeah.
exploded. And I've heard like just working for like just using the coaches like crazy. The guy's just an absolute workhorse,
Mhm.
and now he's making millions of dollars playing tennis. And if you would have told me
And hitting
five,
two
six
first
years
serves
ago,
every time.
and hitting two for like, but the guy, he's committed to what he's doing, like he believes in it. He believes in his style. And if you would have asked anybody, okay, do you think in 5, 6 years this kid's gonna be making millions of dollars? I mean, to say 100% yes, you wouldn't get a lot of people that would say that.
Right.
No, like I don't. The kid had crazy upside. Like, sure, he could totally do it, but he believed in himself, used his resources, and now he's at where he's at. So, um, college tennis I think is great. In terms of the pro stuff, I think in the States, we are very fortunate to have, we have lots of events. There's a piece of me that wishes it was maybe scheduled a little bit more player friendly. Like I think in the in the summer, it just so happens that a lot of the tournaments are close together. Like you can drive to 7 weeks in a row. It makes sense. But at the beginning of the year, you might have a tournament on clay in Florida, and then the following week in Ithaca, New York, on indoor hard. Like that's not player friendly because one, nobody's making money at those tournaments. Drop crazy money to then get to Ithaca, New York to play on a different surface the next week. It's tough, but at the same time, like they give us the opportunity. There are a lot of tournaments to play, so you can't really knock them. But I wish that they would take into consideration a little bit the fact that okay, if you're playing 15Ks, 25Ks, you're really not making any money. So how can we make it as financially feasible for these guys as possible? So that's my biggest thing about the pro stuff in the States, but they give us the opportunity to play, which you really can't knock them. I mean, you could play a full schedule just in the States, which is pretty incredible. Yeah, no, I mean, obviously as I continue to work up the ranks, like I've played enough challengers now, have seen that, and it makes you kind of appreciate, like, all right, you're moving up the rank. It feels different. Like tournaments are run better. They're at better spots, like take care of all your accommodation. So it kind of gives you a taste of like, yeah, like I need to continue to work my way up. Things are a little bit more glamorous, run a bit more professionally. But I mean, you can't really knock USTA for at least giving us the opportunity to play in our backyard.
Yeah. So you've heard one of my tennis hot takes. Do you have any tennis hot takes?
Geez, Louise. Like in terms of like players,
Anything,
or in
Zeke.
terms
Make it
of
spicy. Anything. It doesn't matter.
anything?
Yes, it could be about how tournaments are ran. Could be about the structure of something. It could be about the way we televise things. Like I still have a tennis hot take that I don't love the TV coverage. They should be the way the NFL does that Sunday red zone thing, where it's like they go to they need to start going to the match that's interesting and not just. I hate it when it's like, oh, Serena Williams is up 6-0, 4-0, and we're going to keep watching her. But if you look at the score in the corner, there's a men's match that's in a fifth set tiebreaker, but we'll tell you about that later. I hate that.
Right.
I'm like, we can come back to Serena. That always drove me nuts. Anyway, do you have anything like that?
No, that's a good hot take. And the one that kind of comes to mind right away, I'm sure I could come up with a million hot takes, but I think a big one, and I'm a tennis purist, 100%. And I've played a little bit of pickleball. I have. But I think tennis has to take something away from what pickleball is doing. I think they've made it attractive to watch. They've made their events are fun. There's a lot going on. People are drinking, hanging out. It has a different feel to it than maybe a 15K tennis tournament. So tennis needs to find a way to make it more fun it needs to be an event, right? Like make it fun for everyone, for the people watching. And I think that's something pickleball has done very well. And I think they've tapped into the team aspect of it. So it's fun to follow a team, right? And I know that I don't know all the ins and outs of it, but I know they have like big team events that pay really well and people get behind it, and matches are just jam-packed. Like every single pickleball, like it's on Tennis Channel now, and every single match, like it's packed, dude, like packed. It's like people are watching and drinking and having fun, and so I think tennis, in order to continue to grow, like pickleball is growing like crazy. And it's hard because you have all these tennis purists. It's like, why would we change what's worked for a long time?
Yeah.
But as is anything, like you have to continue to adapt and grow. And so I think that's a hot take of mine. And I know there's a lot of other people that would agree with that.
So I've got a vision for you. This is the way I envision them implementing that, because Tiafoe talked about this, and I've imagined this. And another thing that's really popular right now in pickleball is that in pickleball there is a back draw where you can play your way all the way back to first place.
Love
tennis, I don't know if we're going to be able to.
Brad Dancer special,
right?
You gotta, like give guys a chance, give them a chance.
And I don't know what the Grand
Make
Slams,
it hard as hell. Make it hard, but give them a chance.
At the Grand Slams, I don't know that we could, play all the way back.
Yeah, which 3 out of 5. But it's too physical. Like, okay, pickleball, tennis is just too physical, man. Like it's too, at that level, it's too hard.
So you lower the prize money and how much each match is worth, but it still has some prize money because I think it has value. But in the main draw of a slam, when you lose in the main draw, you go to the back draw. Now it's 2 out of 3 sets, fast 4, no ad. And you play all the way out to third place. And during the fast 4 matches, you can cheer the entire time.
And then
you can cheer during.
Give your and then give your Joker Noles, like the guys who are just winning straight through, like make it tough for that guy to in the back draw to okay, then he has to beat Djokovic. Like make it tough. Like Djokovic has earned his way to the final, and the playback, like it's going to be brutal, but give him a chance. I think that's an awesome idea.
You could play it all the way back, and even if they don't want to have him play the actual champion, make that third place thing like a huge deal. And anything that's those backdraw fast four matches, people are drinking. You got music playing the whole time. You can cheer whenever you want. You can get up. You can get down.
It's an
There's
event,
food going on.
Bro.
They can bring that in.
Yes,
and then if it goes well, you can take that culture and move it back into the main draw. If it goes well. And if not, no big deal.
Love it.
But I would be sick. Like, I would watch it. It's great for the fans.
I would too. It's great for the fans. It has to be an event. Like allow things to get rowdy, dude. Like, that's why college tennis is so fun. You have somebody who's never watched a tennis match, and they go watch a college tennis match, and they're hooked. They're like, "This is so fun," because it's fast paced, it's energetic. You're right there. You're cheering for a team. It's loud. Like, that's fun, you know? And
I also think they should take every Masters 1000 should have to be a 128 draw. And I think every slam should have to be a 256 draw with the top 32 seeds getting a bye. I think they need to start making it where more people can make a living doing this, and they got to figure out how to spread out the money. If you're top 250 in the world and they can't give you a main draw spot in the top events, that's crazy to me. Think how many people are making a pro living in these other sports. Like, there's that many rounds of qualies. Why not just make that main draw? Make those guys earn those wins. Right? If you're so much better than the dude that's ranked 250 in the world when you're ranked in the top 100, then it shouldn't be a hard match for you, and they make a little bit more money, but they also get to say, hey, I play Wimbledon.
Right. Yeah.
And not just qualies, but I was main draw.
Right.
And if you're a top 32 seed, you've earned that right to get one bye. But my thing is, they saw this week in Madrid, the people that had the buys, they lost a lot because everyone else got a warm-up match. And they didn't really like
They're feeling way better. Yeah, of course.
So then it's like, do they really want the buy? So I don't know. It would be interesting, but I just think they need to maybe expand some of these draws. I think Masters 1000s need to have a 128 draw. And I think eventually maybe and if you're not going to do the 256, we need to do that back draw thing I just talked about. They need to try something.
Yeah, I agree. And giving lower ranked guys that exposure, and obviously the money is a huge piece of it, right? Like if you're making the slams, like you're doing all right, but so few guys are doing it, you know? And it's tough, man. And obviously, like, okay, I'm at 450. All right, that's where I'm at. Like, Djokovic has earned every single penny that he has made, and he's fought like hell, and he's one of the GOATs, and he has earned all of that money, and with sponsorships and everything, like 100% earned. And if you were to ask him, like, because he's earned it, he'd be like, why do I care about a guy 450 in the world? Like, why do I care about him when I've been grinding so long, like staying so perfect for so long, you know? So then you ask the top guys, and they're like, well, we earned it the hard way. Like, why would we want to take a cut?
Right.
You know, so when you're at the top, like, those guys, I'm sure see it so differently.
Because I think their opinion should change, because Novak's got a kid, and I think of all people, his kid is actually going to play tennis.
Yeah.
I don't know if Roger's kids will, but I think Novak's kid is going to play tennis.
Yeah. And that's a tough line, because you have the guys who haven't made it yet, like myself, who are like, okay, yeah, we're in a tough financial spot. And you have the guys at the top, like, the discrepancy is insane.
Yeah.
Like, those guys, and then those guys are just making an absolute scandal amount of money.
Which is crazy, because if you broke it down, like, let's say it's still just, let's say we did that 256 draw to slam, and you're ranked in the top 250, and you're guaranteed to get even if nothing else goes well, you get to main draw a slam 4 times a year. And then now I think losing first round of a slam, they're paying you how much?
$80K.
Right. So let's say that losing first round of a slam, you're getting paid $40K, because they've spread it out and they've let more people in, or it's 30
dude,
or whatever. 30, 60, 90,
120,
120 to 160 a year just for those 4 tournaments. And now the rest of the year you have the money to travel and try to figure it out for 250 guys. I feel like that's really good. And I think they could make that happen if they chose to.
Yeah, I mean, but then at that point, okay, you're making, just off of those 4 tournaments, Okay, 40K, 4 tournaments, bang,
Mhm.
160K with if you don't win, right?
Right.
And
Right.
then like, okay, let's talk about, all right, I'm bringing a coach on every
Right.
like for 20, 25 weeks a year. Like, okay, I'm really starting to do things how the top guys are doing it. But
But
like
that's
with
how they
where
grow the
I'm,
game, though.
yeah, exactly. Right.
Because
And
now
then
there's
guys are
more
getting
coaches
better.
on tour. Now there's more players on tour. There's more people chasing the dream all of a sudden.
Yeah, right. Because the dream for a lot of guys, it comes and smacks you in the face when you go out there and you grind your butt off, and wherever it's some 15K qualities, you walk away with no money. You didn't earn a single dollar. You didn't earn a single dollar.
Hmm.
You're down however a couple K, and you didn't have a coach with you. You did things for as cheap as possible. It's like it's brutal. Like this whole the dream of playing pro tennis, the glam, the dude, it's tough, man.
I
And
feel
and
like
to do and to do and to do things. No, you go,
unless
you
you're
go.
losing every week,
Yeah.
unless you're literally losing every week, because we all know that's part of this individual sport. Like people in the NBA G League, they're coming home with 40,000 a year. It's like there
Yeah.
should be enough prize money in it. Like even guys, if you played futures, just only futures, the lowest level all year round, and you won, how many would you have to win to bag 40K?
I mean, so in Trinidad, the first week there, where I'm just coming from, I won both singles and doubles.
Right.
So, and it was a ton of tennis. I mean, it's a ton of tennis, dude. So that's 9 matches I had to play that week. Physical, tough conditions. Walked away with $2,500. And
Right.
so that is 2,500 for winning both singles and doubles. And if you're not playing in this, like we didn't get taxed, but a lot of the guys got taxed. So
Mm-hmm.
like the French guys there, you get taxed 30%. So boom, take your 30%. So take whatever much,
So
750 out of that. That's if you win both. If you win both,
winning singles and doubles, you would have to win 20 events a year to clear 40K after
there you
taxes.
go. There you go.
That
Bang.
is
It's a
insanity and
joke.
makes
It's a
no
joke,
sense.
dude. It makes no sense. It makes no sense.
Because if you
The
play every
futures
week,
level is
there's guys on the
it makes
tour
no
right now
sense.
even playing, like, I'm not knocking them. I know they're talented. Probably not the dudes with the huge serves. But if you
Yeah.
put just the wear and tear alone, take somebody who's maybe not had the best results the past year or whatever. If you told Schwartzman he had to do that and it was strictly clay tournaments, so that he had to win 20 tournaments a year to clear 40K, he'd be like, I'm not doing that.
Yeah, no chance because the guy can go out and lose one match at any of the tournaments he's playing right now and make 40K.
And he's
So he's
super
like,
talented and he's earned his spot. Like we all know
yeah,
that. It's
obviously,
going to take him
obviously.
a
It's
while to
not a
fall
knock.
out the top 100. It's just
it's not a knock at those guys because those guys have earned it. And
right,
and props to their ability, they were able to get out of this level fast. Like
right,
they just get out, bro. Then
right,
that's their argument. It's like, why are you still playing futures? So it's a tough.
right.
Then it becomes like it's your level. It's not like
Mm-hmm.
what then. But then you have like a lot of futures guys. Oh, the prize money's so bad, like this, that. And then the guys at the higher level are like, maybe you're just not that good. So it's the harsh reality of it, where like it all depends on who you're talking to. Like the guys who have
Mm-hmm.
been stuck playing futures forever, like of course they're like, this is ridiculous. Like the sport is screwing us over. And then you have guys that are top 100 that are like, man, I got out of futures in 3 months, so I don't want to hear about like I earned my. So
Right.
it's tricky,
It's
but
tough.
I
And
do
it's
I do
crazy
wish it
is
was
too though,
more
but there's
feasible. It was more
there's
feasible.
value in those futures though, because for those local tournaments, that's what's inspiring those local kids. That's what's growing the game at a
Yo,
grassroots level.
exactly. Yeah, exactly, man. And I think that's important. Like, okay, at the 15Ks, and I've seen it. Some clubs do an unbelievable job of getting people out to a 15K. And you have
Right.
like night sessions and it's fun and like people get a lot out. I think that's important at the 15K, 20, like the involvement, like the community involvement in these small places, as opposed to like, oh, I just have a 25K in Edwardsville, Illinois. For what reason? And I picked that one out because my buddy Dave Light runs that tournament and he does an unbelievable job. Like he has his whole high school team out there, like ball kidding the whole time. Like they're all about it. It gets them into tennis. Like Edwardsville tennis that's a huge piece of I know their culture is that tournament, and they take full advantage of it. So like that's, I think, a big, and that's why they continue to put it on, is because Dave knows how like important, like the kids all look for, they love it, dude. They love it. So like, I think that's a big piece of the 15K 20, and to make it more like, to get you, I was saying my hot take was that pickleball is fun for the spectators. Like, all right, if you want to have an event, like promote it, get people out to the matches, make it fun,
Right.
you know, get them into it. 100%.
Okay, so this is your shout out opportunity, Zeke. I want to know someone
Say that one more
who
time.
this is your shout out opportunity.
Shout out opportunity.
I want to know someone you played with or played against, coached or saw play, and you can't believe that they either didn't play college tennis or you were convinced they were going to go pro and they didn't even try. Like, who's someone that should have played and gone beyond a level that they were at and they chose not to? Maybe someone from, your high school years you couldn't believe didn't play in college, or they played in college, you can't believe they're not even pursuing an opportunity at the pro tour. Is there anyone that comes to mind when you think of that?
I mean, there's obviously like lots of guys that I played juniors with that were unbelievably talented and then just like kind of fell off. And it's hard because like everybody's obviously in different like mental spaces. Some people are all about it, like all in, and some people just don't enjoy the grind that much. Mm-hmm. Trying to think of a good one. Honestly, a big shock, it's not a shocker, just given where he is in his life and like what's going on. But really good buddy of mine, Sam Riffis. He's no longer playing, and he had all the talent. And everybody who knows tennis probably knows Sam Riffis, NCAA champion. I mean, all around great guy, just an awesome dude, good buddy of mine. And I mean, he had all the talent in the world to make it top 100, and decided to stop playing. But it again, it just goes to show, like, if your heart's not in it and if you're not all about it, it's tough to make it. It's tough to make it. And I saw it with guys burning out in the 14 and 12s and 14s. They burn out. Before college, they burn out. They just want to go to school and not play college tennis. And sure, there are a lot of guys like, okay, this guy could have achieved this, could have achieved that. But if your mind and your heart's not in it, man, then the sport will not give to you what it should if that's not if you're not totally in it, It's so tough. It's so tough. So that's one that kind of comes to mind. That was like, I was a little, because he was doing like, I played him in I think Fairfield Challenger might have been his last tournament. He beat me in final round qualifying, semied the tournament. So he's obviously beating really high level guys, like playing great. I think that might have been his last tournament. But he's married now, married to Cece Bellis, and I know they're both very happy. And he was just in a different, I think he was ready for the next chapter in his life. And everybody's in different headspaces. And as obviously, I'm sure it was a very tough decision for him. But geez, like, having competed against that guy for so many years, like, that's somebody, there's no doubt in my mind he could have made a crazy push to really get up the ranks quickly. So that's just somebody that kind of comes to mind for me.
I think it's a good one. And I think I didn't realize he'd stop playing. And then obviously with Cece's injuries, it's kind of weird to see them both. Those are two people in particular that I really thought were going to have, a really good career. And Cece did amazing things.
I mean, and Cece was already
killing it.
Already making it, like playing so well. I mean, she's an absolute stud and had been for a long time. And obviously with her injuries and I think, and with her being done with tennis, I think they're both and they've been dating a long time. I think they're just in a different space mentally. They're like, all right, we're ready for the next chapter. And
right.
I know they're both happy and obviously wish them all the best, but I mean, just two cats right there that maybe they've been in a different space. I mean, could have made a crazy living playing the sport for a long time, and I know that for a fact.
Just a few more questions here, Zeke. If you could go back in time and give advice to like your 13-year-old self or your 18-year-old self, is there anything that you would go back and maybe tell yourself that would make things easier for you now?
Kind of a point that I touched on earlier is I've always made things so personal, like the losses, this, that. I just beat myself up for no reason, man. Like, and it's easy. It's not easy now. It's still very tough. Like I lose and I still am like, gosh, I hate losing. And sometimes I just got to give myself the rest of the night. Talk to anybody, like, so okay, give yourself a little bit of time, but like, dude, it's just a tennis match, man. It's a tennis match. Doesn't knock you as a person, doesn't knock who you are, what you stand for, what you're about. Like it is what it is. You know, you play a terrible tennis match, whatever, man. It's all right. And yeah, I just think if I were to go back and just be able to continue, like just to tell my younger self that it's okay, man. It's okay. And I think that would have took a lot of pressure off the pressure I was already putting on myself.
Right.
Maybe would have allowed me to play at a higher level. Who knows? But yeah, I think that's probably where I would start with the advice that I'd give my younger self.
Okay. Zeke, tell me your happiest tennis moment.
There are a lot of them. As there are a lot of good ones, and I know there's a lot of crushing but geez Louise. Happiest tennis moment.
That's got to be tough.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard. There's a lot of them. I mean, this game has brought lots of unbelievable moments. Probably clinching the Big Ten championship my last year at Illinois is probably one of the most satisfying, just given like the whole background there, like the story to it and how it ended was wild. Like wild. Like you couldn't really script it up, man. Like it was crazy. Like I'd never beaten Ohio State in my whole time at Illinois. Like, okay, our biggest rivals, but we never beat them. They beat us every time. And Ohio State is always nails. Like, so much credit to Ty Tucker for what he does at that school. Yeah, he just, okay, they graduate three guys that could be unbelievable pros. And the guy reloads. Every year they're good. Every single year. Then he brings in 3-4 top recruits. The guy's an absolute monster. He's a monster. And all the credit to him and what he's able to do there. And so we had never beaten them. That was always our goal as a team was to win the Big Ten. Always our goal. Win the Big Ten. And we hadn't done it. And that's something that I obviously like harbored, especially as my time went along. Like you're a leader of the team and you want to achieve those goals, and we never did it. So I always like kind of felt like, geez, like we fell short. Like we didn't. And that person, like falling short for me is like, it's a loss, you know? And so I I took it very personally. And so, yeah, like the years going on, we lose to Ohio State early in the year. Michigan was very good that year, so we knew that they were going to be tough. And sure enough, it comes down to Illinois and Ohio State in the Big Ten final. And it just turns into an absolute barn burner of a match. It ends up like we sneak out a couple third sets, and it comes down to me at number 4 singles against a very close friend of mine, Kyle Seelig, and was able to win the match. And it was just a very full circle moment, given the fact that we had 4.5 years of disappointment. Like we had some good runs. We had a team who made the Elite Eight in the NCAAs, but as a team, we had never really won anything, you know? So it was just a very full circle moment. Like I did it for the team. Like we got through. There were a couple other, like Noah Cleef, another 5th year senior, like won a huge match. And like,
yeah,
like
that was huge.
It's like, yeah, I mean, it was wild, but like there really was no coincidence. Like Noah had worked his ass off for 4.5 years for that moment. I worked relentlessly for that moment.
Yeah.
And it was a very it was a magical moment. Super satisfying. That's definitely one that probably tops just about any other one, given all the disappointment that went in prior to that one moment,
Yeah.
like losing, and then you finally get it. And it's very satisfying.
I think you picked a good one. That's I think it'd be pretty hard to top that. And getting to be the clinch too.
Yeah, that was
wild.
That was wild. That was wild, and the emotions that come with that, obviously. And it's the way it panned out, but
it makes you realize when Djokovic, when he wins the slam and he literally rips the shirt off, where that adrenaline comes from, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like all the emotion can finally pour out because you're exhausted. Like you're trying to keep your cool during the match, and then after the match is over, the emotions just all pour out. That's like, all right, you see guys, they win the quarter semifinals, they usually don't go to their knees, because they're like, there's more work to be done. Like you don't see Djokovic winning round of 16 of a slam and then like celebrating like crazy because he knows he has 4 more matches to go.
Yeah.
But then at the end of the tournament, it's that release of emotion. That's it's got to be one of the most satisfying things as a tennis player.
All right, last 2 questions. Here at the Grassroots Tennis Pod, we believe in giving people their flowers. Who is someone underappreciated in the tennis community?
Ooh, that's a good one. That's a good one. Underrated
or underappreciated.
I mean, if there's somebody that I think that is extremely underrated, maybe not appreciated, that like hits home to me was actually he was a teammate of mine and one of my best friends. His name's Guy Gomes. He came in, was an absolute stud for us, playing 3 singles his freshman year, and yeah, dude, he was killing it. He was killing it for us. And all right, you're looking at that like, okay, a kid coming in playing 3 singles on a good team right away. Like this guy's he's gonna be legit. And he was legit already. Like already had a very complete game, great competitor, and just battled crazy injuries his whole time at Illinois. And it's as one of his best friends, like it's just tough to see somebody have to go through that and really not able to live out to his full potential on the tennis court, given the level that we all knew that he could play at. So that's like when I think of somebody who's like just underrated, like nobody really knew how good Guy was besides his closest. Like we got to see it,
Yeah.
He and there's
a lot
also
in the game of tennis, and then the payoff didn't come.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, there's another guy, and I think Alex Brown too, another guy at Illinois, is a guy who semis our challenger his sophomore year of college. So this guy's beating guys consistently, top 150 in the world, and beating them up good. Like Alex Brown is a serious player, and just due to some things that kind of happened towards the end of his college career, like he lost a little bit of confidence, was losing some matches that you would think, okay, the AB who semied the challenger would never lose these matches. And so like there's just he's also another guy, I think, like, geez, like there are a lot of people that really don't know how good this guy is. Like they see some bad results and they think, oh, this guy's, oh, well, whatever, he didn't improve, he lost it. But those are 2 guys that kind of come to mind that were so good that maybe just given their circumstances, they weren't given the chance to kind of show that.
Or they didn't get that moment you thought that they were going to have, their moment in the sun, right?
It's tough because I saw the work that both those guys put in and of that. But they're both crushing it, and what they're doing now, they're going to be so successful. And
they got to be part of a great team.
Sometimes that full circle moment doesn't come, which is tough, which is brutal.
Yeah, But thank goodness they got to be a part of a great team with that whole Big Ten run. I mean, I
Yeah.
think that's still
Yeah.
huge. It may not have, especially for Gee, may not have looked exactly the way he thought when he was a freshman. And then he graduated. He didn't come back for that 5th year, right?
Yeah. No, after our season got cut, what was supposed to be our senior year, he didn't come back.
Right. So he didn't actually get to be on that Big Ten championship team. And
Yeah.
I
Which
always thought he
is,
would be.
which, I mean, if you look at it all, like he's still like a piece of that. I mean, that was 4.5 years of, that wasn't just a couple months of work. Like there was a lot that went into that moment. So I think he's just as deserving as anybody else, given the work that he put in during his time.
And I'm sure he was happy to see you guys win it.
Oh no, he was, and it's not like the guy just stopped following. Like he was right. There. He was there with us, that's for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, he was in it.
All right. Last question, Zeke. Who do you think needs to come on the Grassroots Tennis Pod? Keep in mind, whoever you say, you have to help us get this person on the pod. You could give me 2 if you want. I usually tell people to give me like a coach or like a community leader or something like that, and then maybe someone that's playing, and they could be playing at any level. It could be someone that's playing junior tennis. It doesn't really matter. Current college player. Just someone that you think would be a good interview. Who comes to mind?
I would like to give you maybe a coach and a play, just like not just 2 players or 2 coaches, to try to continue to get different ideas, different minds on here.
Yeah.
Honestly, I would love for you to get Marcos on here.
I
would love for you to get Marcos Ase on here. He's no longer the assistant in Illinois, but he is such a good grasp for. I think he would just be an awesome person for you to just spitfire questions to and just to talk about the game. I think he would be great. And they're a player. I've actually just recently gotten in touch with him. I actually played him both weeks in Trinidad. He's a big time talent. He's not going to school. His name's Tawheed Browning. And I would love for you to set that up just to talk to him about kind of his path and like how he's gotten to where he's at right now, because it's not very traditional,
Yeah.
And he's
a
big time talent. Like he's going to be very good, but I think just hearing something different, like just a different way of going about it, because it's not cookie cutter. Like I think college tennis is great, but it can, like, you can not go to college and still achieve great things. So
right.
I think he would be a very interesting listen.
Yeah, no, those are the type of people we want to hear from. I like to hear from people from different backgrounds. I think coaching at that level for so long, he's going to have lots of opinions. Definitely going to have a few hot takes. And
talk about hot takes. He'll have plenty. He'll have plenty.
Yeah. And then Tawheed would, like you said, he has an interesting backstory. How old is he?
He is, I think he just turned 20. So he's young, but he's
young, but he didn't do the.
He has all the talent. He has all the talent in the world, and is I think the tournaments in Trinidad were maybe like his 4th and 5th pro event, like futures. So he's I think he's ready. He's due for a little breakthrough, and I think we're gonna see his name around a lot more.
All right, that's awesome. Well, for you listeners out there, if you have any follow-up questions for Zeke, I know how to get a hold of him. You can email any questions that you have to grassrootstennispod@gmail.com. And we would love to hear your questions. Or if you know someone else or you think that you should be on the podcast, you should send an email to grassrootstennispod@gmail.com. Zeke, thank you so much for being on today. We really appreciate it. And hopefully people will hear today's episode eventually as we grow the pod, and they'll learn a little something, and maybe they'll start following you. We know that you're not going to be done for a while, so hopefully there'll be more people following you on your journey, and we'll have to check back in at some point, maybe focus just a little bit more on your talking a little bit about the tour. But thank you so much, and We appreciate it.
I appreciate you for having me on, Ship.
All right. Take care.
Thanks, brother.